Good evening and welcome to Joy News Prime. Our headlines this hour. Minority in Parliament raises fresh concerns with government's expenditure on COVID-19 vaccines as it emerges another 109 million cedis was paid for the procurement of Johnson & Johnson vaccines without parliamentary approval.
I'm also aware that the Health Committee of Parliament has also not considered any commercial agreement for the procurement of vaccine. So clearly, Parliament is not aware of this procurement.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Health Service has begun a rollout of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in the Ashanti region, with the Greater Accra region set to commence on Monday.
Starting the Johnson & Johnson vaccination. We are starting it fully from Monday, which is 16th August. Through to 20th August.
Also tonight, United Nations human rights experts and special rapporteurs urge government to take all measures to withdraw the anti-homosexuality bill, as they say it explicitly promotes discrimination and violence against homosexuals. And later in the bulletin, we'll share with you the pain of a young crash victim. 13-year-old boy ran over by a vehicle, spent 6 months in hospital and undergoes 10 surgeries. We have details of this plus the latest in business and sports and showbiz. I'm Ernest Mino. Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our Fanova studios at Kukumlimle here in Accra. We are on your digital TV because we are free to air on DSTV channel 421, Go TV 144. This is your home of independent, fearless, credible and impactful journalism. Stay tuned in. Wow. The United Nations human rights experts and special rapporteurs are urging government to take all measures to withdraw the anti-homosexuality bill currently before Parliament. The first reading of the bill took place on the 2nd of August 2021 and its consideration is expected to resume in October. Now they say the draft bill explicitly promotes discrimination and violence against LGBTQI persons. That are considerations of the bill is also shocking, especially because Ghana is regarded as a champion of democracy in Africa. There's more in the following report.
The independent experts appointed by the Human Rights Council presented an analysis of the draft bill to the government of Ghana, stating their concerns. They say the draft bill seems to establish a system of state-sponsored discrimination and violence against LGBTI persons. The report says the consideration is shocking, especially because Ghana has been regarded as a champion of democracy in Africa with an impressive record of achieving certain Millennium Development Goals by 2015. They say the draft legislation appears to be the result of a deep hate towards the LGBTI community, and that it will not only criminalize LGBTI people, but anyone who supports their rights, shows sympathy to them, or is even remotely associated with them. They say that given that LGBTI people are present in every family and every community, it is not very difficult to imagine how, if the bill is adopted, it could create a recipe for conflict and violence. They conclude by urging the government of Ghana to take all measures necessary to withdraw the proposed bill from consideration.
So let's do some more on this latest, angle to the LGBTQ bill, which is currently before Parliament. We're joined by the campaign coordinator for Amnesty International, Samuel Adbuche. Thank you very much, sir, for your time on Joy News Prime. What do you make of the verdict by the United Nations Human Rights Agency?
Good evening to your viewers and the listeners. We in Ghana, as an organization, a human rights organization, and human rights advocates and experts have been doing an analysis of our bill, the bill in Parliament, and some of the fears that we have expressed wasn't different from what the UN rights experts have expressed. And so we associate ourselves with some of the issues that has been raised in the report that has been issued.
What do you say to those who think that your advocacy, painting a very grim picture of how LGBTQ persons are treated in Ghana, is what is generating this kind of response from the United Nations?
Well, of course, the United Nations is an assembly of countries, and they are the generation of human rights, and therefore, of course, they are watching every country and what we do. And Ghana being a big home of democracy in Africa, or West Africa, and the whole world, they are critically watching our steps and what we do, especially when it comes to human rights. The major concerns in the UN experts report, and as expressed by some of the civil society organizations like Amnesty and others, was the fact that the bill is gone beyond attempting to punish alleged LGBTQ persons or suspects, and to human rights defenders and people who are associated with them, and those who even want to defend their right. And that has been the consensus, because in this country, even armed robbers have people defending them in court. They have people speaking for their fair trial. If things are not going on well, we have people who advocate for their fundamental right, apart from the right to movement and other things. And so that has been the major concern. Human rights has three aspects. We have the human right promotion, we have the protection and fulfillment. Sometimes it's just good that we distinguish between the act and the person. The fact that somebody has been allegedly accused of a particular crime, that does not mean that the person is losing all the other rights that are associated to the person.
But that has been also made abundantly clear by some of the point you make about protecting the other rights of persons identified as such or accused has been made abundantly clear by some of the lead legislators, that there's enough provision in that law. Also, even before the LGBT draft, there's enough provision in our laws to protect such persons. And then they have gone a step further to include such provisions that would help protect even further some of these people from further abuse.
Yes. Can you pick it up again? I didn't hear.
Yes, Mr. Abuja, I was just saying that you mentioned the protection of the right of persons accused of being LGBT, and the fact that they are or are not does not mean their other rights should not be violated. Should be violated. I am saying that the draft bill makes enough provision for protection. How about that? That has, it appears that is always under the radar for you as far as your advocacy is concerned.
Yes, of course. Even before the bill has been laid in Parliament, some of us working and defending human rights have received a lot of threats. Our office has been threatened. I have been threatened. My family has been threatened for even opening my mouth or our mouth to even talk of human rights of gays and lesbians. You can imagine if this law is passed, what it means that human rights defenders cannot even open their mouth and even mention LGBT at all and so on. So that is the fear that some of us or some of the human rights defenders are expressing, that there's going to be an all-out kind of tagging, naming, name calling. Look, if this law is passed, what is going to happen is that if I don't like you, I can easily just go raise an alarm that you are gay or you are lesbian or you are this. And then people can take it up from there. You know how media trials are very good in Ghana and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, the act is the private act. So how do you know that the person is engaged in this particular act when you don't have the evidence to even show that indeed the person is engaged?
Mr. Abuja, we would like to leave it here for now. We're grateful for your time. That's the campaign coordinator of Amnesty International, joining us on the latest angle of the anti-gay bill, which is currently before Parliament. The UN has raised concerns. We're able to speak to Fuamweni, who is part of the coalition that drafted the legislation, but we don't have him. When we do, we'll bring you his response or reaction to this. Away from that, a 13-year-old boy would have to undergo 10 surgeries after his legs were crushed by a speedy car. Moses Adai is one of the children featured in the latest Joy News documentary titled Crushed Young. It tells the stories of children killed or maimed through road accident. Seth Kwame Boateng shares the story of Moses, who lost a leg and has already spent 6 months in hospital.
Moses Adai is one of them. On Friday, 19th March 2021, 13-year-old Moses stepped out to buy food at Trader Junction and has since not returned home. Moses has been on admission at the trauma and orthopedics ward of the Confnochi Teaching Hospital for almost 6 months.
I'm when you are playing chess, when you are Cotedian, me and me Jimmy Susan, me damn Juana can't bomb. Can't bomb many tinam the home at tram 9. And it's me say is he then and bedaha. And I see then on tram 9. No Busan. No Busan said in Tino tram 9. No sican, a bomb in a chili tiny fast in a yam dumping. Tino me own she need Tino try.
I am in Kumasi for further information, and I get the opportunity to meet the police officers who were first dispatched to the accident scene.
This is the exact spot police officers found Moses on the day he was knocked by that taxi. He came to buy food from this woman, Gary and Beans. He had finished and he was about boarding a tricycle that brought him when the taxi knocked him. And I understand when the police came, they found pool of blood right here. And I can see from where I am some parts of, I think, either the motorcycle or the taxi that knocked him.
Police in Trader is trying hard to understand how that taxi could veer off its lane without any obstruction and hit Moses. ASP Dorcas Mensah, the Trader District MTTD boss, however, says their investigations have slowed down.
The driver was billed and he was asked to be reporting himself. The investigator went with the surety to know where he's residing, and he went back to the hospital, took statement from the victim. Since he's minor, another statement too was taken from the mother. Since he's alive, he can tell us exactly what happened at the scene. So we are waiting. Either we can go to I don't know whether the doctors will allow it, but so far as he's now going for another surgery, I don't think it will be appropriate for us to move him from the hospital and send him to the scene. So we are waiting.
Moses has so far undergone 8 surgeries and has 2 more to do. But this pain is not what bothers him. The pain from the services he rendered his local church and school, which he may not be able to render again.
So let's speak to my colleague Seth Kwame Boateng on Zoom, because we know that there's a premiering of the documentary in the Ashanti region. Seth, tell us all about the premiering. How is it going?
Sent all the invitations out. We received feedback from the people that invited chiefs, grandmothers, government representatives, and stakeholders in the royalty sector. We have all promised to be, God willing, Monday. But tomorrow, what we are doing is we are cutting short for work to begin on a 3-bedroom apartment for Moses. He's the inspiration behind this documentary.
Okay.
We got support from people, especially in Accra, when I shared Moses' story on the Kusise on a person. We were able to raise some money to pay his medical bills, and now we want to go a step further and build a 3-bedroom apartment for him. So tomorrow, the chiefs in Trader will gather and receive us as we cut short for work to begin. So that Monday premiere documentary at the Kumasi City, Kumasi Mall. They have an auditorium where we're going to respect all the COVID protocols, so that we will watch this and have a discussion and see how we can save our young ones from dying early and from getting crushed and getting permanently injured for life.
And good to know that some interventions are coming in already. But Seth, where's the venue for this premiering? And who can attend?
We are doing it at the Kumasi Mall. They have a big auditorium on Monday, 4 p.m. If you are interested, if you are in Ashanti region and you want to be there, it's strictly by invitation. But if you want to attend, just go to the office of Love FM and pick up a ticket, and you can join us at the Kumasi Mall Monday, 4 p.m. in Kumasi.
Very well. Thank you very much. That's producer of Crushed Young, Seth Kwame Boateng there. And of course, the premiering will be in the Ashanti region. You want to join us if you're interested. Like you said, move to Love FM in Kumasi and you can be part of this documentary. Now, the minority in Parliament have raised fresh concerns with government's expenditure on COVID-19 vaccines. It has emerged that another 109 million Ghana cedis was paid for the procurement of Johnson & Johnson vaccines without express parliamentary approval. This comes even in the wake of the controversy surrounding the procurement of the Sputnik V vaccines. As you may know already, the ad hoc committee that probed the issue established a number of breaches, including failure of the health minister to seek parliamentary approval. This has generated calls for the health minister to either resign or be removed. But even before the dust settles on that, the ranking member on the Finance Committee of Parliament, Kezela Tuforsen, says the contract for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which government secured through the African Union platform, was not brought before Parliament.
I mean, what I know for sure is that government has paid an amount of 109 million Ghana cedis, and clearly this can be found in the budget statement. If you look at page 101 of the media review, it is clearly there that government has indeed advanced an amount of 109 million Ghana cedis for the purposes of procuring a vaccine. In fact, the president had earlier on said that about $25 million has been paid for a particular vaccine. I can also confirm to you that as Finance Committee, we have not considered any commercial agreement for the procurement of vaccine. I'm also aware that the Health Committee of Parliament has also not considered any commercial agreement for the procurement of vaccine, in line with Article 1815 of the Constitution. So clearly, Parliament is not aware of this procurement. Probably we'll have to wait and see how things will unfold and to find out as to whether there is a legitimate reason why government decided not to come to Parliament or not. You see, that kind of fact must be established first. And if it's clear that government had no legitimate reason not to have come to Parliament, then obviously an action can be taken. But if clearly there is a legitimate reason of which government decided to go through that route, then we'll be satisfied. My reading of the Constitution clearly tells me that under Article 1815, if indeed government signed an international agreement, there's the need for the government to have come to Parliament to actually get it approved or otherwise. Yes, we will wait on the Attorney General to give his opinion. So if the AG, who's the government lawyer, gives an opinion to say that government doesn't need to come to Parliament under Article 1815, we'll also peruse it and to look at the details to find out whether that is the case or not. But clearly, my reading of the Constitution is that government should come to Parliament.
So he points out the mid-year budget review, and we have been checking. Indeed, it is expressly written there. My colleague Kweku Asante joins us via Zoom with details of that. Kweku, do we know, take us through the portions of the mid-year budget review where this is written and exactly what the commentary is in the budget?
The paragraph 394 of the mid-year budget review that was delivered by the Finance Minister to Parliament just a few weeks ago. Paragraph 394 says, in view of the prevailing global supply constraints of vaccines, the government is exploring all other options to secure adequate doses of vaccines to help achieve herd immunity in the country. Government is expecting through the COVAX facility 1 million Pfizer vaccines from USA and others And then it goes ahead to say government is also in the process of procuring 17 million doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccines through the African Medicine Supply Platform in the third quarter of this year. So this is the speech that was delivered by the finance minister. But then if you go to the appendix, which actually shares more details in terms of the monetary value of all this, Appendix 4E, if you go down there, you would see 15% down payment to Janssen SARS-CoV-2, and the amount that has been paid according to this appendix that was attached to the media budget review statement says that 109 million cedis have been paid. And this 109 million cedis that have been paid is representative of 15% down payment for 12,669,062 doses. And so 15% of this amount of doses that government expects, they paid 109 million. And this is all sourced from the media budget review statement that the finance minister submitted to Parliament.
Kwegu, thank you very much. Well, Kezala Tuforsin tells me that even though the House is on recess, the Health Committee, together with the leadership of Parliament, is considering the issue and will subsequently communicate their decision on how to proceed. But he adds that these revelations justify his call for a full audit of all COVID-19 expenditures.
What I know is that the Health Committee, working with the leadership of Parliament, is probing this matter to find out the detail of it, and the details and the facts of the matter will determine as to whether we should take further action or to leave it as it is. But we'll wait for the details. Government has spent huge amount of money. I mean, something close to about, if I'm not mistaken, more than 2% of GDP has certainly been spent on COVID-19. To date, we have not seen any form of an audit relating to COVID-19. Yes, the finance minister announced in the budget statement, the media review, that there was going to be a probe, an audit into the expenditure of COVID-19. I also cited a document, the IMF Article 4 document, saying that the Ghanaian authority has agreed to conduct an audit into the expenditure of COVID-19. So all what we can do as to when this audit will be done, I'm not aware that the Auditor General has commissioned an audit yet. And I remember the Honorable Muntaka and myself in 2020 even wrote to the Auditor General to commission some form of audit into the expenditure of COVID-19 expenditure. I don't know whether that has been done or not, but if that has been done, certainly I would have seen it. But I can conclude that as we speak, we've not had any feedback from the Auditor General that says that something is being done or something has been done. So I will conclude that nothing has been done.
Let's speak to Dr. Steve Amwa. He's a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament and joins us with some reactions to the issues raised by his colleagues on the other side, the minority. You can confirm that this did not come before Parliament for approval, but as a member of the committee, what is your reaction to these revelations about the failure of the executive to come before you to seek parliamentary approval for some of these transactions?
Thank you very much. My regards to our viewers this evening. Indeed, the issue of whether it came for approval or not, in my opinion, it's just a consideration in something I put in quotes, drift. Strategically, it is drift. It is not an issue that, to me, anybody who really give priority or precedence to the lives of Ghanaians, saving lives, will go into these areas. Even with the audit that my brother, in fact, my regards to my doctor friend and a brother, Atuforsin. My brother, even the audit that my brother is talking about, let's look at what it stipulates. It talks about audit entails one, financial statement, whether it complies with the standards. Two, it talks about the statement itself, whether there is materiality. It reflects the actual activities that probably we spend money on. Three, it talks about compliance. Most of the issues they are raising today is about compliance. And if you read the PFM Act 2016, Act 921, Section 18, I'm not a legal practitioner, but I think it gives margins for us to all be quite considerate in analyzing these issues and trying to compare these to other conventional issues or legal requirements earlier done in this country. It states 3 conditions. 1, when there is war. 2, when there is natural disaster. 3, when there is health epidemic. Upon consultation, our fiscal rules and policies should be suspended.
Okay.
And my brother Ato Forsen, doctor, understands what fiscal rules and policies actually entail. It's about budget, it's about expenditure, it's about the rules and regulations, the legal frameworks guarding these exercises or events. Okay. So under this circumstance, why are we being so dishonest with this? These good people of Kenyans, and trying to say that the time that even giant economies such as United Kingdom and other places were struggling to get even second jobs and people were dying, that is the time that you are talking about. We did not go here. We did not seek this approval.
Dr. Amwa, would it be fair?
I am so surprised.
Would it be fair? Would it be fair to your colleagues to describe their raising these concerns as dishonest when indeed the ad hoc committee that looked into the Sputnik V vaccine, which has some of your members, indeed this was chaired by the deputy majority leader, say that the fact that we are in an emergency is not an excuse enough for the finance minister not to have sought approval from parliament? How about that position?
So my issue is not necessarily about my doctor friend and brother. Anybody, I personally, in my opinion, I really don't consider which fraternity you find yourself in or your jurisdiction or your position. I think what we are doing to the health minister and to the good people of this country is not fair, is not right, is not in good faith, and we need to be careful the precedent that we want to set in this country. So if your child has convulsion and the very particular medicine that you need is so scarce that we are not getting anywhere and it's become community issue, nobody is getting it, then they are saying that before you get your drug, you should go through A, B, C, D. Even with the law, the practitioners of the law always tell us that even with the law, when there is so much emphasis, they talk about the letter and the spirit. If there is evidence of siphoning state fund, that one, Ato Forsen knows the way I am. I will go all out to fight it.
But doesn't the law also provide for emergencies?
So now we are okay. The time that people were all scared, we were all panicking. Nobody raised this issue. Now, by the grace of God, we've been able to manage this pandemic to the extent that at least we've saved some lives. It's not too bad. Now that we want to hold somebody just because the person gave, precedence to saving life.
But Dr. Amwa,
saving money.
Indeed,
do we understand peacetime and wartime?
Indeed, we were not in ordinary situations, but the law even provides. The law provides for how you should handle matters when there's an emergency.
But the same law also makes this statement. Let's analyze this in its right context and details. That the same law, if you want me to quote again, I don't have the book with me here, but I know I'm 100% sure. Unless maybe the interpretation of it, because I'm not a legal practitioner. But I think ABC doesn't have to call for somebody who cannot read and write to understand that A, B, C, D are first letters of the alphabet. The law states that when there is war, when there is natural disaster, when there is health epidemic, our fiscal rules and policies should be, upon consultation, suspended. Even the law says that. Even without the law, they talk about the letter and the spirit. Even without that, look at the situation we find ourselves in. So if somebody can prove evidence of, misappropriating state fund, that one day, we all talk about it.
Very well,
somebody says that somebody has siphoned money. But if it's just sheer compliance and saving lives, under those conditions we found ourselves in, then my brother, let's all be honest. Let's all be honest.
Okay, let's see how this proceeds, Doc.
Issues, and I don't want to compare regimes.
No, we don't have to do that. And Doc, we appreciate your time with that. Yes,
if we want to go by this, I can prove to them that even entities of the state, without even internal audit committees and tender whatever committees, which were very legal requirements, they were not having them, but they were doing procurement without even going through PPAs. I'm not saying if it was wrong, it should be right today. The situation we have today, it is an outlier situation. The KSM Act even creates some margins for that. We ourselves should be, all of us should be ethical enough and be considerate enough and think of saving Ghanaians' lives rather than trying to do politics and seek political capital and competitive edge. I don't think it is in good faith.
Dr. Amma, we're grateful for your time. We're indeed grateful for joining us with that reaction. Of course, this has just come up, and we'll see how it pans out. But the new phase of COVID-19 vaccination takes off smoothly in the Ashanti region after initial delays. Selected health facilities in the region have begun administering the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines to persons above 18 years. Though the exercise suffered delays in the early hours, takeoff has since been smooth, and taking part in the exercise are 4 districts driving COVID-19 cases in the Ashanti region, Oforikrom, Kwadaso and Asokwa municipalities, as well as the Kumasi Metropolitan. Now, Ohiminteri of our health desk reports some people who received the first jab of the AstraZeneca vaccine and wanted to participate in Friday's exercise were turned away.
The vaccine exercise suffered delays in the designated centers. Health personnel had to receive training before administering jabs to anxious crowds, some of whom had been in queues for hours.
I came here about 12 p.m. It is almost 1. Now that you are getting ready to take the vaccine here. I am number 22. Some are here since morning. After they hear the news, they decided to come to here in the morning to take the vaccine, but it's yet to come.
The Menchia and Centreso government hospitals, the Children's Hospital and the KMA Clinic in Kumasi Metro all started without hitches. This was preceded by advice from health professionals who explained to beneficiaries the do's and the don'ts regarding the vaccine.
First one, 2 doses, where 1 pet. We are for Johnson & Johnson. And 2 months, I would your card now, but you know. I see a honor, young for day to be answered, but you best certify any hologram. And to be our day, my idea go for the no. Who say, what do you know? And I bet baby.
The requirements is 1, you shouldn't have received a first dose of the previous vaccine and come here for the second dose. And then when you are coming, you should come with a valid ID card, preferably the voter ID card, your passport with accurate information.
At the Centreso Government Hospital, the exercise started at about 9 a.m. and by 12 p.m., 150 people had been vaccinated. Dr. Ejako Poku is the medical superintendent.
By 6 a.m., people were here waiting. By 9, we have started the program. It has been smooth so far. As you can see, we don't have the heckles that we had during the first vaccination exercise. Perhaps people have not heard about it, and we do hope that from tomorrow we'll get people rushing in here.
According to Dr. Ejako Poku, some people who have had the first jab of the AstraZeneca vaccine were turned away.
Few people who came thinking that it's their second jab were disappointed, but we explained to them that this is a different vaccine altogether, and it is not possible they can have it, so they should wait.
How come they were here? Because the announcement was that those who had the first jab, they were not eligible for this exercise.
We do hope that that was all. But we're also anticipating people who will be coming to thinking that every jab is a jab, every injection is injection. So we have to take our time and explain to the people that the drugs are different.
Meanwhile, some beneficiaries, including this prison officer who received their jabs, are happy at the protection the vaccine brings.
The whole world has come to realize that COVID-19 is a very, deadly disease that we've all been confronted with. So it feels good that I've been the very first person to take my shot of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine here at the Menchia Government Hospital.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohiminteri reporting.
You're watching Joy News Prime with me, Anna Smith. Still to come, we have business, and the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, will divest its investment in 4 institutions, including Ghana International Bank and Metro Mass Transport Limited. Charles has details after this break. Please stay.
Welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aich. To our first story, the Agric Development Bank, ADB, will divest its investment in 4 institutions, including Ghana International Bank and Metro Mass Transport Limited. The bank holds 9 and 16% stake in the Ghana International Bank and Metro Mass Transport. According to the Banks and Specialized Deposit-Taking Institutions Act 2016, a bank or financial institution shall not invest or hold investment in the share capital of a body corporate other than any subsidiary. We have more on this in this special report.
ADB has investments in Ghana International Bank, Agridev Real Estate Limited, Metro Mass Transport, and Activity Venture Finance Company. Speaking at the bank's annual general meeting today, Board Chairman Alex Benasco said management has begun the necessary processes to divest these investments accordingly. He explained that the financial implication of the divestiture has been assessed. Meanwhile, ADB improved its position in the banking industry league, climbing from the 20th position in the year 2019 to 17th last year. Alex Benasco says ADB is doing everything possible to consolidate its gains.
In the area of cost savings and management, total operation expenditure was well contained, thus finding expression in the overall cost-to-income ratio of 78.2%. At an year-end, a marked upgrade from 2019 position of 92.2%. Indeed, all the relevant indices presented a positive outcome, providing the basis for the bank climbing up 3 places from the 20th position to the 17th position in the banks in 2020.
Managing Director of ADB, Dr. John Kofi Mensah, is optimistic the bank will sustain its consistent profitable growth since 2017 going forward. He explained that the 3-year strategic plan that was revised last year aided its growth.
We are working with a 3-year strategic plan which will end in the year 2023. And the strategic plan is the one the document that is influencing the progress. It was a well thought out plan, which we used almost 6 months to deliberate on, and that is showing a trajectory according to the plan. So our expectation is that the profitability will continue, and by the time this plan is ending, a new one will be in place. And so the board and the management are going to sustain the growth of this bank. And by the grace of God, we are not going to go back to days that the bank was wobbling.
ADB registered a 400% year-on-year profit of 65.4 million cedis last year. The board, however, did not recommend the payment of dividend to shareholders.
Now, management of the Ghana Stock Exchange will be developing guidelines for market making by brokerage firms and investors. Now, this is part of enhanced measures to protect investors on the market. The managing director of the Stock Exchange, Ekwafeji, disclosed this during the virtual launch of Trade Live. That's a digital platform for trading. We have more in this report.
Trade Live is a new innovative electronic platform that has been developed by IC Securities for their customers. This is a collaborative effort by the Ghana Stock Exchange, IC Securities and MTN Ghana to help investors access the exchange in the comfort of their homes and offices. Speaking during a virtual program to launch the platform, Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Ekwafeji, noted that as an exchange, management is developing guidelines together with the Securities and Exchange Commission to protect firms that to be involved in trading on the market.
It's true. As an exchange, we're going to be developing guidelines for market making. It's important that we have guidelines in order to protect investors. And it's not every broker who can qualify to become a market maker. And at the same time, SEC recently also came out with some other requirements that you need to have in order to do other things. Apart from just the normal brokerage. So we'll link up with the SEC in order to achieve this. But this will be done in no time. It's been one of the things that we've always wanted to do. And you're right. This can be a game changer in the sense that it can support and provide liquidity on the market, especially on the sell side where most people want to sell and they don't get buyers.
In a solidarity message, Acting Chief Finance Officer of MTN Ghana, Kobna Benti Enchil, hinted that the network provider will be developing more of such platforms to help boost liquidity on the market through technology.
Consequently, TradeLive will bring the capital market literally to the fingertips of the average Ghanaian who uses any mobile device. I must add that this is only the beginning as we roll out our Ambition 2025 strategy to transform MTN into a major platform player and operator of choice. There will therefore be future development of the TradeLive platform to include all major payment options, especially bank cards and other mobile money platforms. This achievement will go a long way to help drive the digital agenda of Ghana and expand the electronic money and payments ecosystem, resulting in improved benefits for all stakeholders.
IC Securities is hopeful of using the new platform to encourage new investors onto the market.
That's how we end business for this segment. We'll come back with sports news this time.
On the Joint News Prime with me, Reku Ampofo, and we'll be starting off from the biggest story of the day, and that has to do with the Black Stars of Ghana. They'll be returning in action in September, and Coach Charles Akono named 5 locally based players in a 30-man provisional squad for the upcoming FIFA World Cup qualifiers, which would be held in Qatar next year. Now, remember, Ghana is placed in Group G, and the matches would be against Ethiopia and South Africa. We do have more details on the squad in this Joy Sports report.
The head coach of the senior national team announced the squad at a press conference on Friday. 2009 Under-20 World Cup winner Jonathan Mensah makes a return to the team for the first time since the 2019 AFCON. There are also places for Kamaldeen Suleiman and Majid Ashimeru. Ghana Premier League champions Hearts of Oak have been rewarded with 2 players in the setup. Richard Atta, who scored the winning penalty in the MTN FA Cup, gets an invitation for the first time since February 2020, whilst former Black Satellites captain Efriye Barnier joins the attacking front of the invited players. CK has been explaining the reasons for his choice of players.
Sometimes maybe you might not understand. Somebody like Barnier, you will see him as a striker. Barnier can play a whole lot of positions, and so I don't play them out of position. Barnier can be a midfielder, a number 8. He could be a 10, a second striker, which he's doing with Hearts of Oak, and so it depends on how you see it. Listen, we played Qatar. We scored 5 goals with the same squad of players. Okay, it's the way we play. Sometimes how the opponents will approach the game. But we will score goals. Trust me, we will score goals, and we will try to be creative, and that is what we're looking forward to. Those who are not here, especially you talk of the local players, they are not here because they're not good. But at this point of time, these are the players I want to go with. And of course, with the AFCON, I expect nothing. Anything that comes, we should be able to deal with it, and so we will be ready for any other group that will come across.
With regard to the basis of his selection, CK said playing active football at club level was a major factor.
You need to be in a team that you be regular, actively playing. We try as much as we can, at the technical team to look all over, to look for the players. Like for instance, now we have Kelvin Yeboah in the squad. I'm sure his name is new to everybody, and so that's what we do. Once we know this can be of good help to us, we bring him on board and then see. So we continue to do that. The other question was the first one. Okay, of course. That's why we have a provisional list. I mean, Kamal Dean was invited the other day. He was not able to come. I mean, sometimes we also need to understand these guys. Today, he's called up again. Tariq came in there was a little bit of misunderstanding. But I think we need these boys just like they also need us, and sometimes it is like that. But I believe they will come in the right moment. We've had a lot of discussion about our issues, attitude, and all that. We believe they will come at the appropriate time, right time, and join the squad so we can prepare very well.
Ghana is scheduled to host Group G opponent Ethiopia on Friday, September 3 in Cape Coast, before playing South Africa on Monday, September 6 in Johannesburg.
We'll be keeping tabs on the Black Stars as they try to secure qualification to the World Cup. Remember, it would be hosted in Qatar in 2022, and Ghana failed to qualify for the 2018 edition. But before we go, some quick updates on boxing, where Manny Pacquiao challenges Yordenis Ugas for the WBA Super Welterweight belt at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas on August 21st. And now with the Filipino star seeking another spectacular title victory, Nathaniel Atta, who's my colleague, has put together this report. Well, the inside of the ring definitely would tell, but that's how we wrap up the first part here of the sports segment on the Joy News Prime. With me, Oreku Ampofo. We're back with the second segment.
And one of my favorite people is here to bring us Showbiz. Hello, Becky.
Hello. Oh, I'm one of your favorite. I'm glad I am.
You are.
Oh, thank you.
Lots of joy.
Okay, let me give you what's happening in the world of entertainment. So, Joyce Blessing, gospel musician Joyce Blessing, has finally reacted to the famous prophecy by Cecilia Marple. Remember that she was on a program, and
when she stormed the stage, pulled the microphone, and then
told
spoke
her
what was supposed to be the word of God.
Yeah, told her to go and go back to her husband. Joyce Blessing says that what she did wasn't right, and that she doesn't believe in her prophecy.
Really?
Yeah.
Me, invite me bon fi no kasa. So nko beti my same. I didn't any probably be burning sa no yes sir. Wasn't the right thing.
At that moment, what was going through your mind?
That moment, I'm home, but honestly, me because I was very sad because then time and then some doors for me, so it wasn't easy for me. Then I had to say job pick a crabber until I felt like we are could ready all the issues again. So that moment need there, but I have to apply wisdom.
Okay.
I had a team of fear. I had to be a mammy. So kasa. Or catch your opinion, Kasa and Kabi. Manin can do became me. It has been like that. Into no, me a penny, musically a penny, ye about baby or a penny, say me totally. I don't need to challenge her. She was a minjina. Uncle do any dear mention Uncle say and yet.
Did you believe the prophecy?
No.
You didn't?
No, because the Radoni and the Namde Biamira didn't make a sanso.
Joyce Blessings there. So that's the she took like a long time to, you know.
This is the first reaction.
This is the first, this is the first reaction, and it happened on Hit FM this morning. Let's move away. Let's talk about Shatta Wale. Shatta Wale is always in the news. Remember that he was nominated, or he's been nominated for the MTV Music Video Awards. The song that he featured. King already. So we Don Chega called him and was congratulating him, and they were having a conversation essentially. But Shatta says that he doesn't do the music for the Ghana music industry, but he is only doing this music for the fans.
Music is not a race. I get what I'm saying. I came to do business, and that is what I'm doing. So if you are talking like this, that it's been a while, that's what while you release a hit song.
No, that is word on the street. I'm just reflecting word on the street.
That's not a word on the street. That's the word on the radio. That's what you are saying to yourself. What is going on in the street? I'm on the street 247, and they play my music 5 hours. Just this weekend, I was at a pub. They were playing my songs 5 hours. You see the people there. So 5 hours, my song was on repeat.
Shatta, which song of yours now is a leading song for you? As you can just say off here that this song is what is the jam now. Among the latest songs that you've released.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes you and your colleagues, you get confused because you don't research, because you don't even go on my YouTube page. You don't even go on my pages to check.
No, Shatta, I want you to tell me. I may know, but what about the people listening?
Listen.
Yeah.
The kind of songs I do is for Shatta movement fans. I don't do songs for Ghana music industry.
Doesn't respect Shatta Wale.
because we don't go out there and look for the things that he does. But I mean, that's just by the way he
just speaks his mind. So.
Yeah, let's talk about Outlook. You know that Outlook season 2 is coming back. It starts tomorrow, Saturday 8:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. On the Joy News channel. This season, the first episode explores the arts industry. Here's what to expect.
Arts investment is sometimes also equated to like treasury bills.
Yeah.
And the value sometimes even more than treasury bills.
Yes.
Because we've heard stories where people buy art for $2 million, they sell for over $700 million.
Yeah.
And you ask, what is in that art?
Yeah. You're wondering
what do they see?
Yeah.
So instead of you putting your money, and I know when the bankers hear this, they will come after me. So instead of probably buying treasury bills, you say, okay, Tebi or Martin or Amakine or Waze or somebody, Lario, so everybody knows these guys. They've got pieces that you want to invest in. You put in some money, keep it. Just keep it. Tomorrow you might sell it 5 times more, 10 times more. Because art is like wine.
Yeah.
And
now, barely a day after Johnny's broke the news concerning food shortage in Damongo Senior High School and the possibility of the school being shut in the West Gonja municipality of the Savannah region, authorities at the Ministry of Education through the Buffer Stock Company have already, in a Rambo style, delivered 2 trucks full of maize and rice to the school. The first truck, which was delivered Thursday evening, the Savannah Regional Minister Said Musa Jibril supervised the delivery, and the headmaster Abu Salia received it on behalf of the school. Also, it was made known today, August 13, by the headmasters from all public senior high school from 5 regions of the north to the director that the food situation is not only limited to the Damongo Senior High School but all 4 regions, and of course earlier the situation addressed. Let's speak to my colleague Isaac Nonya, who has been following this. Isaac, you can confirm if the food was actually delivered to the Damongo Senior High School today, and by whom, and what sort of food is it? Isaac, you have to position yourself well so we can hear you. We'll shortly re-establish contact with my colleague Isaac Nonya. He joins us on phone this time around. Isaac, tell us about the food that was delivered to the Damongo Senior High School today.
Yes, right. Last night, somewhere between 8 and 9 p.m., a truck full load of corn flour, popularly known as Tom Brown, was delivered to the school, and the management received it. And today in the morning, the regional minister, Said Musa Jibril, also brought a truck load of rice, bags of rice, maize, and some cartons of milk. Sugar and that of oil to the school. In that case, it came to supplement what they said they did not have. And something like the Tom Brown, the corn flour, was something that was already there. So what they received last night was a supplement. Now, what does it address? The actual issue has to do with critical stuff like beans, maize, rice, and another critical ingredient like tomatoes, which is lacking. That aspect was not addressed. The tomatoes, the other ingredients were not growing. We'll call them perishable goods or supply.
Yeah.
So what they brought today, both last night and today, came straight from Tambale, and we are told that was being mitigated by the powers that be within the regional level. And as for buffer stock and their suppliers, the issue between the 2 parties has to do with the pricing. Pricing in the sense that if a supplier will have to supply maize or beans they will have to get the market price and then supply at the market price. But that is not the case. So we are yet to hear from the suppliers who will supply directly, but not one that will be brought in by the buffer stock directly or the regional minister.
Okay, so what are the school heads saying about this? I mean, the failure to address the specific needs of the food shortage.
You know, originally, both school management of the school and then the GES at the regional level were mute about the matter, talking to the media. But as for now, you hear the assistant headmaster in special administration, one Suleiman Akipo, saying that, the situation is not bad as such, as being portrayed by the media. So what they had, they received. They were able to manage very well. Forgetting that they were rationing, and to the extent that people have to relocate to their homes and to be commuting and be feeding and then even supply their colleagues. These are real things on the ground. So we can say that for now, sources from the kitchen said after the Tom Brown, they can manage it for 2 months. But the bags of maize, beans, and then cutting of oil that were brought in this morning will not last beyond 3 weeks.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Will not last beyond 3 weeks.
Isaac, thank you. Thank you very much for the update from the Damango Senior High School, and of course the other schools in the 5 regions of the North who are experiencing similar situation. Now, a healthcare facility established to tackle maternal-related deaths at Daboya, 2 years near Walewale in the northeast region, has been abandoned by the residents following the absence of a midwife. John News has learned that health authorities in the area, since the construction of the facility 5 years now, have been struggling to get a midwife to manage it, but to no avail. The situation, the residents reveal, is due to the lack of basic necessities, including water and sanitation materials at the facilities. Some of the residents who spoke to Joy News said the facility isn't serving its purpose at all because expectant mothers still travel far beyond the communities for delivery. They say they fear maternal-related deaths and complications could rise again, especially as the rainy season sets in. Ilyasu Tanko has more.
The facility, according to the residents, was constructed 5 years ago in response to an increase in maternal-related cases in the community. It was, however, commissioned and operationalized without any provision for basic water and sanitation services. There is also no accommodation facility for the midwifery staff. At the facility, the only basic water and sanitation materials were a small-sized tank, 2 old Veronica buckets, and a mini waste bin, all said to have been provided by well-intended organizations. One of the organizations is currently building an incinerator for the facility. Part of its main entrance was closed with 2 padlocks, an indication of low patronage. Also, the facility lacks beds and basic supplies and no physical space, as the staff sitting room also serves as both the consulting and operating wards with just a bed for all categories of patients. Ayamga Francis is in charge of the facility.
At times, hand hygiene, if there's no water, can you wash your hands before any of the procedure? If we access to bath and start the daily work, there is no water. You can see that we are relying on these pollutants. Dry season, we use all this water and we don't have water too. So dry season, we have to go to the black water there to fetch water. Even that water is not safe for us.
As a result of the situation, a midwife who was posted to the facility 2 years ago is yet to accept her posting and resume work. The in-charge said the facility can only function effectively with the provision of water and staff accommodation.
We have a midwife posted, but he has not yet come. Almost 2 years now. One major issue is that when the midwife comes, all her procedures need water. I get it. And when you come and see that we don't have water, then they have to repost her to some places.
Residents of the community who were happy in 2016 when the facility was commissioned said nothing has changed and that getting quality health care still remains a challenge. They disclose women still resort to local traditional birth attendants. Dahamani Azuma, who has assisted in the delivery of many women in the community, is also worried. Our facility has no midwife due to the lack of water situation here. Women travel to Nasia and Waliwale to deliver. We are pleading for a midwife and a clean drinking water. The lack of safe drinking water in the community of over 1,000 residents is not only affecting healthcare services, but education as well. The residents source water directly from the Black Volta River, known in the area as Nasia River. According to them, several school children have drowned in the river as they tried fetching water for their school activities.
Even because of the water situation here, we don't have a midwife. Because when there's a drilling operation going on, there must be water. And if there's no water, then it becomes a problem. And then that same thing happens to the school. Despite of the rainy season, when it comes to dry season, the children, they wake up early in the morning, go to the river, fetch water before they go to school. And after closing, they will go back to the river again, fetch water before they go back to extra classes. So we are appealing that our water situation, the whole world should hear our voice, including the current government and his voice, that the Boya people are crying for water.
Ilyasu Tanko reporting.
The Ashanti Region Police Command is relying on a video footage in circulation to investigate alleged assault on 2 suspected gold thieves at a mining site at Manso Achere. The assault at the Napoleon Gold Mine owned by Bismarck Okre Elias Aya resulted in the death of Ernest Kwabena Opoku Elias Lowen and another victim who is seriously injured. One suspect, Kwame Dapa, who was seen in the video, has been arrested as police search for others. ASP Godwin Ahianyo speaks for the police in the Ashanti region.
Police has arrested one of the assailants named Kwame Dapa, aged 31. He is currently in custody assisting with investigation. One other person, only known as Culture, has also been named as one of the assailants and is currently on the run. The command has also intercepted a video footage on the assault of the 2 alleged thieves, which is trending on the various social media platforms. The same will be retained. The owner of the mining concession, Mr. Bismarck Okra alias Aya, was also invited to the command yesterday to assist with investigation and is cooperating in that regard. The command is advising all those involved in perpetrating that dastardly act to own up or come to the command in their own interest, or be arrested to face the full rigors of the law, since the police will not condone any such distasteful act in the region. The command is appealing to the people of the area, especially those who witnessed the assault and have any information to share with the police, to call the following numbers: 18555 191 or 0299202240.
Road accidents have increased by 42% between 2017 and 2020. This according to the Motor Transport and Traffic Directorate of the Ghana Police Service. To reduce incidents of the crashes, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, has partnered with TransAid to introduce a standardized training manual for industrial drivers. Both parties met on Thursday to discuss the driver's manual draft. Yela Achia Jamson has more in this report.
The alarming rate of road accidents prompted the Motor Transport and Traffic Directorate and the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency, DVLA, to come up with a manual. It teaches, among others, basic principles of driving, street signs, and the effects of driving under the influence of drugs and alcohol. The draft manual also proposes that drivers should have at least primary level education and be in possession of a medical certificate and a legally acquired license to qualify to drive. At a meeting between DVLA and TransAid to review the draft, Director of Driver Training, Testing and Licensing, Kafui Semevo, said the manual will serve as the national curriculum that sets the minimum standard for all drivers.
So, what we are doing here goes beyond the guide. We are in a process of developing national curriculum that sets the minimum standards for training of large and heavy goods carrying vehicles. The reason is that the guide is not that detailed to provide a reference for training. The guide is not even a national document, but what we are developing is going to be the reference point for every institution that is licensed to train the category of drivers we are developing this for.
Kafui Semevo also says that, unlike the current system in place, this new manual is more inclusive of all large trucks and heavy-duty drivers who primarily speak Ghanaian languages. He highlights the need and benefit for a driving policy that is inclusive of every Ghanaian driver.
Drivers will be given the opportunity to listen to the questions in the language they understand and then respond by just clicking or touching the screen to pick an answer. Now, we are doing this starting with 6 Ghanaian languages. We are starting with Dagbani, Ewe, Ga, Hausa, Chi, and Inzima. The problem also is that if you do not respond to the inconveniences to accessing the services, those drivers will continue to drive anyway. So what we are doing at the DVLA is to encourage compliance instead of waiting for them to get into the problem and then we say we are punishing them.
He says the DVLA will meet with a broader consultation group which will review the draft with several drivers of this specific category. He was hopeful that by the end of the 4th quarter of this year, the final draft would be completed. Mr. Semevo added the training manual should be fully operational by the 2nd quarter of 2022.
Beyond this technical group meeting, when we get to the national stakeholder engagement, we are going to broaden the consultation base, and then we, from that end, get input from everybody to enrich the document, and then we finalize it and start to implement it. We are anticipating that by the end of the 4th quarter, we should have a final document. If we are able to achieve that milestone, then going into the 1st quarter of next year, we'll start to do the training for selected trainer of trainers. And then these people, by the 2nd quarter next year, will then.
The Director General of the Center for Science and Environment, CSE, Sunita Narayan, says there's no time to lose on the new International Governmental Panel on Climate Change report. The report on the climate change is the first part of its 6 assessment reports that sounds a grave warning. Mahmoud Maran Nuruddin engages the South Asian Interest Research and Advocacy Organization based in India and centers this report.
There are no ifs, buts, or maybes anymore. The threat of climate change is real, dangers are imminent, and the future is catastrophic. This is the message from the report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and it confirms what we already know and can see in the world around us. From wildfires because of extreme heat and moisture loss, to devastating floods because of extreme rain events and tropical cyclones because of the changing temperatures between the sea and the land surfaces. The future, quite simply, is here, and it should worry us enormously. Indeed, this report, coming as it is from the normally conventional and conformist world of buttoned-up scientists should scare us into action, but real and meaningful action. There are some key takeaways from the IPCC report that I would like to discuss. Number one, that the world could hit 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature rise as early as 2040, which means that the speed of rise of emissions and the consequent temperature increase has accelerated over these last few decades. So instead of this being about the future, we are talking about a change that could be as imminent as 2040. And 1.5 degree Celsius temperature rise, we have to understand, is a guardrail. It's a safety net of what is relatively safe. And this, what IPCC is now saying, could be breached in the next 2 decades itself. 2, science can now attribute climate change to specific weird weather events. And this report is different because for the first time, scientists at IPCC have come together and are no longer coy about telling us that climate change is caused by human-related activities. That is clear. But they are going a step further. They are able to attribute climate change to specific extreme weather events. So we know with greater certainty today of the role of climate change in, say, the extreme heat event in Canada, or the wildfires in Greece which are happening today, or the floods in Germany. This is new and important. But third, the big takeaway from the report is that the world cannot bank on sinks to absorb our emissions. Let me explain what this means. IPCC is telling us that the relative efficiency of sinks, and the sinks are the Earth's natural cleaning system, the oceans, the forests and the soils which absorb carbon dioxide, their ability will go down in the coming years as emissions continue to rise. And just understand the consequence of this. Currently, oceans and forests absorb some 50% of the emissions that we release in the atmosphere each year. And now what we are hearing is that their ability to absorb these emissions will actually go down as the pace of heating goes up. So what it's really, the policy implication of this is that we cannot bank on the sinks to clean up the emissions in the future at the same rate. And this is important because the new googly in the world has been net zero. And the net zero plans of countries has been, for instance, the US has said that it will become net zero by 2050 or China by 2060. And this means they will remain below what their terrestrial sinks or carbon capture technology will be able to soak up or clean up. Now, if we take on board what IPCC is saying, then the sinks have reached their tipping points. And countries will have to work even harder to plant even more trees to be able to sequester the same amount of carbon dioxide. So I think we need to understand that the world has really run out of excuses. It has run out of time and space, and it needs to act now.
You're still watching Johnny's Prime with me, Anna Spinny. We're taking a short break. When we return, we have more business and sports for you. Please stay.
You're welcome to business. Guinness Ghana's Brews PLC has awarded its deserving customers in the Middle Belt of Ghana as part of the second edition of its retailer loyalty scheme. Now, the promo is aimed at supporting customers to experience sustainable business growth and increase sales volumes across its portfolios. Operator of the enterprise, Seth Entry, was adjudged the overall winner for the Middle Belt. Prince Apia was at the event and has come through with this report.
The Yeyimbom campaign in 2020 was dubbed Rise Up, which aimed at assisting key retailers and wholesalers of the company's product. It was to support them bounce back from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic in their businesses. Sabina Menu is head of customer marketing.
This is the third year that we're about to start running Yeyimbom again. So this is the Yeyimbom 3.0 launch. And we've been visiting our customers throughout Ghana, from Accra all the way to the north, all the regions. We have loyal customers that we are engaging with. We are sharing with them the details of the promotion. And we're also rewarding people who won from the promotion in the just ended edition. That was in June. So it's a good program that has been happening. We give away cash incentives to our customers. We give them electric appliances, vehicles, and all of this has been supporting their business. Especially during COVID, this was one of the programs that we really used to reach out to our customers. And now we've ended that session. We are starting again. So we thought it best to bring all our retailers together, tell them that we're starting over again so that they can get ready to be part of this wonderful program.
The company has invested in the promotion an average of 10 million Ghana cedis per year. For the third year running, Guinness Ghana will be working with 1,500 retailers and wholesalers across Ghana on the Yeyimbom Retailer Royalty Program. Ms. Menu admonished customers to remain true to the brand.
This is the third edition. We'll be running from 2021 till 2022, and we have 1,500 participants throughout the nation, between bar owners and wholesalers as well. We've been working with some of these retailers more than 20 years. Some are new, some are old. So they always tell us how the business is affecting them. So if I give you an example, within the COVID period, some people's businesses were affected quite a bit. So you would see that a lot of them were very appreciative of the incentives that we gave them, especially the cash rewards that helped them cushion some of their overhead costs month on month. So the feedback has been very positive. Everybody is happy with the incentive.
Prizes given to customers included mini trucks, TV sets, deep freezers and refrigerators, as well as DSTV subscription and monthly mobile money remittances. The overall winner for the Middle Belt Division, Seth Entry of Papakiano Enterprise, walked away with a brand new minivan.
This vehicle that they've given us, it will really help because we'll be able to reach our customers, we'll be able to serve them better, and that will better the lives of everybody. So just as they call the program Yeyimbom, now I see that yes, it is true, and what I'm getting now has been a win-win for us because we will serve our customers better to also improve the business of Guinness Ghana.
The trade engagement, which awarded outstanding performance of Guinness Ghana's customers, also outdoored the third edition, which commences this month of August. Prince Apia reporting.
Now, GIZ, in collaboration with DHL Group, has organized a 3-day training session for some selected small-scale and medium enterprises on how they can incorporate e-commerce in their businesses to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Now, the program, dubbed Pan-African E-Commerce Initiative, focuses on online branding, digital marketing, customer service, logistics, compliance, and cross-border trade. 72 SMEs applied for the 3-day certification event, but only 20 were shortlisted. Here's more.
The advent of the COVID-19 pandemic has made digital trade unavoidable. The African Continental Free Trade Area, AfTA, offers an opportunity for Africa to develop e-commerce. However, the key challenge is how to develop digital solutions for African businesses and consumers. That is why GIZ partnered with DHL to train 20 people in using e-commerce for trading. Brian Jansi Jidapo is technical advisor for Digital Transformation Center at GIZ Ghana.
We ran the first session in Rwanda, we did one in Kenya, and we are doing one in Ghana now. The whole purpose is to improve the frameworks to support growth of e-commerce across this African sub-region. And by that we mean, first of all, supporting governments to work on e-commerce policies and strategies. On the other end, we are also supporting SMEs directly by building their capacity so that they can take advantage of the growing markets that AfTA presents.
Managing Director of DHL Ghana, Morgan Oluko, said the objectives of GIZ align with his outfit, hence the partnership.
GIZ is a German agency.
largely empowered to develop internationally trained people. It's likely to do with development of SMEs and the empowerment of entrepreneurs, particularly SME startups. For us, Go Trade is one of our sustainability program.
Consultant for digital training at GIZ, Malfemo Ashong, took the participants through online branding, digital marketing, customer service, logistics, compliance, and cross-border trade.
I took the participant through how to go online and then sell, because we realized that a lot of SMEs are selling online, but they are not really taking advantage of all the activities that happen online that can make them sell. So we took them through digital payments. That is one key factor of e-commerce. And since you are going online, you have to be able to satisfy everybody, because once it's online, it's not only Ghanaians that are going to buy. So how do you take your money from someone who is in Nigeria, someone who is in South Africa, or even the US? Because your products are going to be online, we took them through their trust, how they should trust digital payment platforms, and then take advantage of them, because that is what will drive them to go global.
Some of the participants shared the experiences and told Joy Business the expectations of GIZ and DHL.
I'm Beatrice Ducamensa and I'm representing Lamshare. The key thing is representing the brand, the image representation of the products on your website and your social media handles are also important.
My name is Frederick Sogbe. I'm the CEO of Zane Organic Cosmetics Industry. We are into tomato soup production. What we expect is more of a partnership to help build our capacity and make us more visible.
Be all for business, but I will leave you with a summary of international business news, after which sport comes up next. Do stay.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the second part of the sports segment here on the Joy News Prime with me, Oreku Ampofo. And we do start off with day 2 of the Ghana National Paralympic Committee's visit to Luton Town, where some members of the Luton Council accompanied that committee to the Inspire Sports Village. Now, the team presented a proposal, and Ghana's para-athletes would be training at the Sports Village for next year's Commonwealth Games. I followed MPC here, and this is a report that I put together. It's day 2 of Ghana's National Paralympic Committee's visit to Luton, and day 1 went pretty well, which did see the committee from Ghana meet with some of the council members of Luton. Now, for day 2, some of these council members did follow Ghana's National Paralympic Committee, this time to the Luton Sports Village, which is a very, very big sports village, and we'll be getting into the details of what exactly happens here. But the purpose of the meeting today is to find out how this sports village could possibly host Ghana's athletes when they do come here for the Commonwealth Games. Now, we did find out from yesterday's meeting with Luton Council members that Ghana's athletes would be hosted here in Luton ahead of the Commonwealth Games, which will take place in Birmingham. Now, if you do look inside Luton Sports Village, it's a really, really big facility which has various sporting departments in terms of, playing surfaces for 5-a-side, and then we do have a swimming pool. There's also an ultra-modern gym, and then there's handball, there's badminton, there's basketball. There are various pools, but one thing that stands out specifically is how there is emphasis on people who are disabled, and so you do realize that even in their changing rooms, the specific attention to what people need to do in terms of, when you're looking at people who are disabled and how to make them comfortable. And this is what has caught the eye of the National Paralympic Committee team in Ghana. And so is to look at the possible partnership between these two parties, and even look beyond the Commonwealth Games to see how they could possibly benefit going forward from this deal. Chief Executive Officer of Active Luton, Helen Barnett, has been speaking to Joy Sports, and she explains what exactly went into the foundation and the creating of this meeting with Ghana's National Paralympic Committee, as well as her impressions from the meeting today.
Yeah, it's really exciting actually. So we know very well about the Commonwealth Games. And had been interested in being a venue for training. And then our wonderful councillor, Maria Lovell, approached us and said that she'd had interest from Ghana, and particularly around the Paralympics, which is something that we're really keen to promote. So it seemed a fantastic opportunity, really. So looked forward to meeting you all. I'd say we've got lots of very exciting, interesting people. Obviously very keen to make a partnership work, and we'd be delighted to try and make that work with you. So really keen. We'd have perhaps some logistics to work out, really, but it seems fantastic, and we know that our community would be just absolutely over the moon to think that we'd got a team from Ghana training here.
So that wraps it up for our coverage of the maiden meeting between Ghana's National Paralympic Committee and the Luton Council members, where plans were put in place to be able to elevate Paralympic sport in Ghana. Remember also, athletes for the Commonwealth Games in 2022 for Ghana were factored in terms of their preparation and how they will be in optimal shape for the competition. We know that they'll be hosted here in Luton, and there's also a possibility of them training here at the Inspire Sports Luton Village. From Luton, Oreku Ampofo for Joy Sports. Well, that's a report that I put together there on the National Paralympic Committee's visit to Luton. Well, let's do some more stories where President of the Ghana Amateur Boxing Federation, George Lante, claims judges were not fair to Ghana in their decision making at the just-ended Tokyo Olympics. Muftar Nabila Abdullahi has the rest of the story. Well, Samuel Techi is actually in Ghana, and we did cover that event. We bring you what went on at the airport, where he was well received in our subsequent bulletins as well. My name is Oreku Ampofo, and that's how we wrap up the sport here.
That's all for Joy Prime today. Many thanks for your company throughout the week. From me and the production team, have a great weekend.